utilities. Utilities are bills that you pay, but they're specific bills. You know, you have in an average month, most people pay rent or mortgage, electricity, water, possibly trash, and sewer service, television, internet, home and or cell phone. Some people pay for both. Credit card, maybe a loan payment. Those are all bills, but the only ones that would be considered utilities are like electricity, natural gas, heating oil. This doesn't happen in Florida. This is an up north thing. And they use heating oil because water freezes. So the oil is hot and it flows through the pipes to heat your house. But we don't have to worry about that here because it only gets cold 3 days. Water, those are utilities. Cable TV, the phone bill, home phone can be considered a utility, but cell phone is not really considered a utility. Utilities is because they're things that you need to utilize to make your living experience possible, like electricity. You can't have a refrigerator if you don't have electricity. You can't cook your food. You can't see at night. So these are more of the necessities. And sure, you can live without electricity, but you don't really want to necessarily. Or you do, I don't know. Okay, so utilities are necessities, and most utilities are not charged at a flat rate. Usually, like trash service is flat rate. It doesn't matter if you put out 2 garbage cans of trash or 3 garbage cans of trash. They charge you the monthly rate period. But then other things like electricity and water, you pay for how much you use. And that's good. You don't want to pay a flat rate on those because if, like, you know, Water Hog down the street is using 90,000 gallons a month and you're using 10,000 gallons a month, you guys don't want to pay the same amount. I mean, he might, but you don't want to, right? So you're charged for what you use, and the way they figure that out is with the meter. And the meter measures the usage. There are dial meters and digital meters. Older homes and older areas some still have the dial meters. Most meters have been replaced with digital, so they're easier to read. But I'm going to teach you how to read both. And that tells how much you're using. Electricity is measured in watts, and we use watt hours. So a watt hour is the number of watts used in an hour. So if you have like a light bulb that uses 5 watts a minute, let's just say, then you'd multiply that by 60, so you'd have 300 watts in an hour, so it would be 300 watt hours. Now a kilowatt is 1,000 watts. So a kilowatt is 1,000 watts. So 1 kilowatt hour is equal to 1,000 watt hours. Individual appliances will use possibly watt hours because like a light bulb doesn't use a whole lot of electricity. But when you add it up on the whole month, you get charged in kilowatt hours just because you use so many watts. It's easier for calculations to use kilowatts. It's a smaller number. So kilowatt hour is how electricity is sold. And we can look up actually. Okay, so like I said, Duke Energy is 10 cents per kilowatt hour. Anybody know an average power bill? Okay, I'll show one out there. My average power bill is about 130. If I'm being charged 10 cents for 1,000 watts, think about how much electricity that actually is. Just to, add up to $130. It's a lot. And of course you can bring that down. Energy efficient appliances, turning appliances off when you're not using them, turning off lights when you're not using them.
I think ceiling fans like take a bunch too.
Actually, a ceiling fan uses roughly the same amount of electricity as a light bulb, maybe just slightly more, surprisingly. Air conditioner, on the other hand, uses a whole lot. So it's more efficient to run your air conditioner at a higher setting. Like if you like it 74, run it at 76 or 78 and put the fans on to make it feel like 74 because the fans don't use as much electricity as the air conditioner. You've got the compact fluorescent light bulbs use less electricity. LEDs use even less. LEDs use like almost no electricity at all. They're ridiculously efficient. But when you have your TV, your beautiful TV set up, and you've got your cable box, and you've got your DVD player, and you've got your surround sound system, and you've got your CD, whatever. I mean, you've got your Xbox and your PlayStation, and all that hooked up, right? And you turn them all off. But you know how they have all those little red standby lights on them? They're still using electricity all day, all night, just sitting there. If you get like a surge protector strip, you turn that power off when you're not using it, you save electricity. I mean, there's lots of ways to save. So electricity is charged by watts and kilowatts. Natural gas and water is sold by the cubic foot. Now on your bill, a lot of times it will say gallons because they do the conversion for you, but when they're actually like reading the meter, it's cubic feet. And 100 cubic feet is the CCF, and this is what you get charged on. Now, natural gas, if anybody has a gas stove or gas oven, that's using natural gas. That's charged by the cubic foot, and then water is charged by the cubic foot. And again, the bill may say gallons, but they've done the conversion for you. 1 cubic foot is about 7.5 gallons. So 100 cubic feet would be, what was that, 75? No, 750 gallons. So that's about 750 gallons. I'm rounding, it's like 7.4 or 8, blah, blah, blah. So it's about 7.5. So every CCF you're charged for is about 750 gallons. These are the meters. You'll see a water meter, and then an electric meter, and then like I said, if you have natural gas, you may have a meter, or some places have like a tank. They just fill up the tank and you get charged for that. Water meters can either be in a box, or sometimes if you've seen kind of like the square rectangular grate in the ground, it's black, it has like a little door in it. You open up, it goes down into a hole in the ground. There will be a meter there on your inflow pipe that goes from the system into your house. There's 2 places that they can put those. Any questions about this? Anybody want me to look up the price for water on average? Yeah? I'll look it up. Okay, so Tampa has a varying rate. So the first 500 cubic feet you use are 209 or 261. After that, up to 1300, it's 243. The more you use, more they're charging you. They want you to use less, so they're discouraging you from using that much. You know how like a lot of times the more you use or the more you buy, it's cheaper? But with this, they're going the opposite direction there.
Conserve water?
It's to try to get you to conserve water. They're punishing you for using this much water by charging you, well, if you're over 46 CCS, they're charging you 628 instead of 209.
Which is more than triple.
Yes. It's to discourage usage. But keep in mind that that would be 46 times 750 gallons. That's a lot of water. You know. Okay. The way they do the meter reading, when they come out to read your meter, or electronically read it if it's digital, it's not reset to 0 every time. So they don't come out and push a button that resets to 0 after they write down whatever number it is. It's based off the previous reading. So if they come out on like the 1st of every month, they'll come out on June 1st, they'll read the meter, and it's like that on June 1st. When they come out on July 1st, they'll read the meter, and it says that. Then they subtract to find out how much you actually use between June 1st and July 1st. So that's how they, so when you go look at like your water meter or your electric meter and you see this huge number, because it will be a huge number, because it's since the history of the account was started unless it's reset, because once it hits all 9s, it'll reset and roll over, right? So you might look at that and go, oh my God, no. You'd have to know the previous reading. So you want to know, if you want to track your usage, you pick a specific date, you go out, you write down the number. And then you go out a week or a month later, get the new number, and then you'll know how much you used because you compare the two. Okay. So with Tom, his previous reading was 3,128 CCF. His new reading is 3,141 CCF. So how much do we actually use? We take the 3141 and we subtract the 3128. So we actually use 13 CCF. Now again, on the bill, a lot of times they will convert that to gallons for you. So he used 9,750 gallons about. Questions on that? Like I said, most of these meters have been replaced by digital meters. And digital meters are, of course, much easier to go read. Just sort of like a digital clock is easier to read than an analog clock. Because it just gives you the numbers and just, there they are. The old meters had these dials, and you look at the dials, you'll see that they're alternating. This one goes counterclockwise, 0 through 9. And then the next one goes clockwise, and then counterclockwise, and then clockwise, and then counterclockwise. I don't know really why. I can't tell you that. But I can tell you how to read it. As you read, this is the ones, tens, hundreds, thousands, and 10,000s. Okay. So they go in the same order as a normal number, and this tells you the digit. Okay. With the ones, you always go in the order that the numbers are going. So you're going from 0 0 around 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we're going to go counterclockwise. And you look at the number behind the arrow. Okay, so see how this arrow is between 1 and 2? I always want to go down.
So you round.
Yeah, you're not really rounding. So see, what's happening is as this is moving between 1 and 2, once this makes a complete rotation around to 0, then this will move to 6. This dial turning causes this dial to turn, which causes this dial to turn, which causes this dial to turn. It's like a clockwork mechanism. You know how there's gears and stuff inside of a watch or clock? So what'll happen is as this first dial makes a complete revolution back to 0, this one will move fast. The fastest, the one on the far right. Then this next one will move a little slower. A little slower, a little slower, a little slower. So this first dial will rotate all the way around back to 0, and while it's rotating between 0 to 0, this one will be rotating between 5 and 6. And then as this one is rotating between 0 to 0, this one will be rotating between 5 and 6. So you see how each one is going to go a little slower than the one before it. Does that make sense? Hold on. They're not turning, are they? No, the water's not running. Darn it. Hold on, we'll see if he turns on the water. See how this is spinning right here? You guys see that spinning? This is probably reading the watts. And then what will happen is as this dial that's going, sideways like that makes a full rotation, this will move. And keep space still. It's not moving easy. If you would go inside and turn on the hair dryer, this would just go. Okay, but as this dial across here is going to move, once this dial here makes a full revolution, I don't know if you can tell, this is a little further than it was.
Yeah.
This will move. And then once this makes a full rotation, these other ones will move. So if that, like each one causes the one after it to move. Does that make sense? See, it's a little further between the 3 and the 4 than it was when we started. It's not much, but he's not obviously running a lot of electricity. When you run a lot of electricity, if you're running a lot of appliances, that'll spin a lot faster. Okay, so what'll happen is as this is spinning around, this one is traveling between these two numbers. So when it's between 5 and 6, it counts as a 5 still, because it's not actually 6 until this comes all the way back down to 0. Does that make sense? So that's why you always go to the number behind the arrow or below the arrow, the next number down. So this will be read as 1. This one's going to be read as 5. This one is also going to be read as 5. It's between 5 and 6, we go down. Here we're between 9 and 0. And here we're between 0 and 1. 0. So the meter reading on this would be 9,551. Okay. So on this one, we're between 9 and 0. So 9, 5 and 6, 3 and 4, and 3 and 4. good? Just remember whatever two it's between, go down to the number below. And so if you're between 0 and 1, the number below is a 0. If you're between 9 and 0, the number below is a 9. Because you're traveling from 9 to 0. Are costing you. Okay, an electric mixer requires 125 watts. Okay. Per minute. Whenever you look at your appliance, like your hair dryer or a light bulb or a toaster, and they say blah blah watts, that's per minute. How much would it cost to run the mixer for 90 minutes at a cost of 10 cents per kilowatt hour? So we take this 125 watts, we multiply it by our 90 minutes. Okay. So we're going to use 11,250 watts. And a kilowatt is how many watts? 1,000. So if I divide that by 1,000, I got 1.125 kilowatts. That's for 90 minutes. Yeah, actually that's fine. That'll be in our hour and a half. We're at 10 cents per kilowatt hour. I guess I should have done 60 and 10. No, that's good. No, that's watt hours. Sorry, that's watt hours. And this is kilowatt hours. And so 10 cents per kilowatt hour. So we've got 1.125 kilowatt hours times 10 cents. So we're going to move the decimal one place over. We're talking about money right now, right? So it's going to be 11 cents. It's not going to be 11 and 2 bucks, right? Because it's pennies, so we're going to round to the nearest penny. So 11 cents to run that mixer for an hour and a half. Not bad. But a mixer is, a small hand plant. They don't use as much electricity as, say, a industrial mixer. Yeah, the little spinny thing. Any questions on that? So we multiply the number of watts per minute times the number of minutes, and that gives us watt hours. And then divide that by 1,000 to get kilowatt hours. And then multiply that by the price per to get that total cost. Questions on that? Comments? Concerns? Depending on the climate, utility usage can change. Hey, did you guys know that you use different type of amount of utility at different times? Depending on where you live, if you live in a hot environment, you'll use more electricity in the summer because you're running air conditioning water. If you live in a cold environment, you'll use more electricity in the winter because you're running the heater more. Water, dry versus rainy season, and you have like a lawn sprinkler system or something, you're going to use more water during the dry season than in the rainy season to keep your lawn water. So that changes the kind of bills that you have. So you have 12 months of bills. And your 12 months of bills will kind of go along, and then maybe they have some fire and, like that kind of thing, right? It's kind of hard to budget this. Okay, one month your bill's 120, and the next month your bill's 170, and then it's 190, and then like it hits August, and so it's like 210. You know what I mean? It's all over the place. It's hard to budget, and so companies offer what's called balanced billing. And balanced billing is where they take the average of the whole 12 months and charge that every month. And then they reevaluate it at the end of the year and adjust for the following year. So this is balanced billing. And it's the average of your 12 months usage. And so the way they figure that out is you go on balanced billing and you've had an account with this company like Duke Energy or whatever for a long time. They just look at your previous usage and take that average. If you go and you move into a new area and you start a new account and they don't have a history, they will look at the average usage in that general vicinity and charge you according to that, and then adjust it as they need to later as they go a couple months in and see your actual usage. This family spent $3,336 on electricity for the whole year. And that's with the bills added up, the ups and the downs and everything. So their balanced budget billing would be the 3,336 divided by 12. Yeah, that's the figure. You take all your bills, you add them all up, you get the total, and you divide it by 12. So their budget billing would be $278 per month. This is going to be higher than what their lowest bills were, but lower than what their highest bills were. It's going to be in the middle. Once you know your balanced budget or your balanced billing total, then you have a solid number to put in your budget every month. You don't have to guess a range or guess high or guess low. This is how much your bill is going to be every month for the year. They'll adjust it periodically, but they adjust it like in December, and they send you notification that the adjustment's being made based on your usage. Now, if you moved and you had balanced billing and you were paying more, like because your average, like you were paying the higher months, I mean, you're paying more because you're paying during the months that are a little bit lower, and then you move and you cancel your account, you get money back. If you move and you were paying less than you were actually using, you owe them money at the end. So if you're planning on moving a lot, that might not be the best option, but it's usually a really good option for budgeting because you know exactly how much to put in the budget. I know if I'm the Ross family, I know my bill is now going to be $278 a month. I can put in exactly $278 a month into my budget, and I don't have to worry. That's taken care of. Energy savings. There's two ways that converting to energy saving appliances can help you. One is that they're energy saving, which means they bring down your costs. Two, there are still currently some appliances that you can get the tax break on. You just have to look on the IRS and see which ones qualify and which ones don't. But if you upgrade to energy efficient appliances, there's still tax break on certain ones. Like you get a tax write-off. So that's kind of nice. But they will pay for themselves because what happens is, let's say you get a more energy efficient refrigerator and it costs $100 a year less to run it than your old refrigerator did. And it was like a $900 refrigerator, but it's going to last for 25 years. In 9 years, it will have paid for itself based off of the electricity that you saved. Sometimes that doesn't always work out because if you get a refrigerator and it's going to take 9 years to pay off, pay for itself, but they say it'll last like 10 years. Yeah, maybe. That's a kind of, if it only lasts like 5 years, absolutely not. Does that make sense? So you have to kind of judge it. So what you do is you look at your old appliances. So old is $455 per year. That's how much electricity this water heater is using. Okay. The new one, I don't think that's supposed to be 3,196. Hold on a second. Let me double that decimal. 31%. Okay. So 31% is how much it's going to save them. Okay, so it's going to save 31% of the 455. Okay. And it costs them $12.40. And we want to know how long it will take for it to pay for itself. First, we have to figure out how much of that is being saved, like how much is the 31% actually in a dollar amount. So we're going to take that 455, and we're going to multiply it by 0.31. So it's going to lower their electric bill by $141 per year. That's significant. That's $141 that you could spend on anything else, right? Shoot, in like 5 years you could buy a new Xbox. Now, it costs $12.40. I'm going to divide that by your savings. Okay, 8.8 years, so we'll just round it. It's going to take about 9 years to pay itself off. Now, water heaters do last like 20 years. So this would be worth spending that $1,200 because it'll pay itself off in 9 years, and then after that, that's all just savings. Okay? But again, this is one of those things that you have to think about it before you go, oh, it's going to save me $50 a year. It's going to last 5 years, and then it's going to, you know, some things don't last long. And if it's not really going to pay for itself, then it's not worth spending the money necessarily. We do consume far more electricity than generations before us, mostly because they didn't have as many different things that used electricity as we did. You figure in your house in 1970, okay? Anybody see the 70s show? Okay, right, what did they have? They had an oven, they had a clock, they had a stereo, they had a TV. There was one episode where she actually got a microwave and was like over the moon about how exciting it was to have a microwave because they were brand new. There was another show where they did have a VCR finally. Okay. But they did not have a computer, a tablet, a cell phone, 20 video game systems, a cable TV box, iPad, you know, iPad docking station, you know, Bluetooth speaker system, surround sound, microwave, and a toaster oven, and a toaster, and a Foreman grill, and the coffee pot with a timer, and the, what is it, the Keurig that just keeps the water warm all the time so you can have instant coffee. And I mean, they didn't have as much stuff as we do, so the electricity usage was much lower, mostly because they weren't plugging and charging things all the time because they didn't have anything portable that they could charge, take it with them. So we Well, we use a lot of power now comparatively. Those are our electronic utilities. Those are our electricity that powers these devices. Internet access, that never existed before late 80s, early 90s. I don't remember exactly when we first got it, but you remember, you know the sound. Yeah, so it was slow and annoying, but we were all excited. But, internet access, cell phones, you've got your DVR now. And if you're like me, you've got your DVR for your DirecTV, and then you've got your Bluetooth, or not Bluetooth, Blu-ray player that will also show Netflix, YouTube, Amazon, and Hulu. Right? I mean, you have that. Because it's not, yes, you pay for satellite or cable, but you also want your internet television too. Right? Anyway, we have a lot that we didn't have before. And all of these cost money and have changed the way people budget. Back when cell phones first came out, they were extremely expensive. The only people that had them were people that were rich or people that absolutely had to have them for business because they were just that important. Nobody in high school had a cell phone. That would have been ridiculous. Because you couldn't get a cell phone for $49.99 per month, including unlimited data and everything else. It was like $70 per month, and that included like 25 minutes, and if you went over, it was $3.50 a minute. And there was no way any parent was going to give their teenager that kind of money-wasting technology, right? So, these things are, but if you think about it, back then, extreme luxury. Extreme luxury. Today, how many of you guys consider a cell phone to be an absolute necessity in your life? Like, if you realize you forgot it and you're halfway to wherever you're going, you'll turn around and go back. That's what I thought. Right? Yeah, I mean, you're like, what time is it? Or where's my phone? You can't even tell time without the phone anymore. Who wears a watch? I wear a watch. Anthony wears a watch. Anybody else wear a watch? Okay, see, it's changing the way we are. So things that used to be luxuries, we now consider necessities. And if you consider it a necessity, even if it's technically a luxury, you're going to want to put it in your budget. So it changes the way you've budgeted. So let's think about things like this. Okay, granted, now maybe you don't necessarily spend this money, maybe your parents do, but how much time do you spend on the internet in an average day? Phone included, Facebook, like on your phone or whatever, checking your email, that's internet time. Think about how many hours do you spend a day on the internet? I know for me it's like 27, 28. It's a lot, right? Okay, how many text messages do you send and receive? Back in the day, you could charge per text message. They were like 10 cents each, incoming and outgoing. So if I sent you a text, it cost me 10 cents. If you replied to me, it cost me 10 cents. So our texts to and from each other cost us both 20 cents. Ridiculous. Okay. Do you know all the details of your cell phone contract? Do you watch cable or satellite? Do you know that there's different price points on that and different plans available? Depending on the number of channels you get and what kind of channels you get. You've got your regular channels and your premium channels. Have you looked at your plan to make sure that you're paying the least amount for what you actually use? We just switched plans. We switched from an unlimited plan where we had unlimited talk and text and data, and we're now saving $70 a month because we have now a 5 gig data cap per line. But when we looked at our data usage, we weren't going anywhere near that on our phones.
But the cell phone companies don't offer unlimited data anymore.
They do.
They do.
Yeah, they
Which
do.
one?
Sprint does.
Huh.
on their My Way. You can get unlimited data, but it's $100 plus every fees and taxes and stuff per line. Per line. So our cell phone bill was like $200. We just brought it down, and now we have a data cap, but we're saving $70 a month.
On Verizon, you don't have unlimited data for the 2 iPhones. It's like $224 a month.
Yeah, well, see, I'm now paying for our 2 phones. We're paying $122 because we switched plans.
Some will have just a really high data to the point where like a family package.
Yeah, so it
no
just
one
depends.
even comes close to.
Right, well, that's what I'm saying. When we looked at our usage,
Yeah.
we were coming nowhere near our new cap. Like nowhere even close to it. But I was paying for unlimited data. That was, like I said, we're saving $70 a month. That was $35 per phone that I was just going, oh, I don't need this $35. Here you go. Yeah, I don't mind. Whatever, here you go. That's why you want to analyze your usage and analyze your plan and make sure you've got the right one. Like if you're paying for like the ultimate channel super bundle where you have every single one of the 2,000 cable channels that exist, but you watch 10. You guys know it's true. You got 500 channels and you watch maybe 10. I think I watched like 5. You know, you don't have to pay for that big bundle. Look for the smallest bundle that has the channels you absolutely want. You know what I mean? So like, these are things you want to do. You want to look at your usage. You want to analyze your plan, and you want to downsize to meet what you're actually using. Because when we spend thousands and thousands of dollars on this stuff, if you spend $200 a month on your cell phone bill, that is $2,400 a year.
Yeah, just to talk.
Just to have your cell phone. If you spend $100 a month on your cable TV, that's another $1,200. That is $3,600 a year for 2 things: TV and cell phone. Okay? And those things can be reduced. I mean, there are certain things you can't reduce, like maybe you cannot reduce your car insurance because you got the absolute lowest rate already, or whatever. You know, like you can't reduce your electricity usage, maybe. But things that you can reduce, you want to look at your usage and you want to adjust that. So you want to look at that. Now this book is a little on the older side. So it still talks about plans where you had to pay per minute on the text or per text on the texting, and then there's pay phones. Oh, wow. Okay, so we're going to go over this, but it's not necessarily very realistic. When's the last time you guys saw a pay phone? Is that one downstairs? There is? Yeah. Does it work? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. The last time I actually used a payphone was probably like 99 or 2000, to be honest with you. Yeah, so anyway, payphones charge, you put in the quarter or 35 cents or whatever, and that gets you so many minutes, and then they charge you per minute after that. For this particular payphone, it was 35 cents for 3 minutes, and then 19 cents for each extra minute, which is actually kind of ridiculous because who has 19 cents you can put a payphone? It's like dimes and quarters and nickels. Can't put pennies on payphone. Let's make that more realistic. 20 cents. Okay, 2 dimes. Okay, so you put in 35 cents for the first 3 minutes, and then you put in 20 cents for every minute after that. The operator would come on the line and tell you, please insert blah, blah, blah for 3 more minutes. So this one would be, please insert 60 cents for 3 more minutes. The recording would come up. Very annoying. So we're going to find the cost of a 7.5-minute phone call. Now you do not pay for half a minute. They charge you for full minutes. So how many minutes are we going to pay for? 8 minutes. Okay. cell phone plans used to be this way when they charged or when they had minute limitations. Like if you had like a 300-minute plan, if you were on the phone for 1.5 minutes, it counted as 2 minutes. They didn't do half minutes. So we got 8 minutes charged. 3 minutes costs 35 cents. So there's going to be 5 minutes at 20 cents each, which is going to be how much money? $1. So this call is $1.35. So to talk on the payphone for 8 minutes would cost you $1.35. Questions about that at all? This is called a piecewise function. The way a piecewise function works is you have different like levels, and then there's the requirements for this. Okay. Basically, what this breaks down to is it's $40 for the first 750 minutes. Okay. And then it is 35 cents per minute after that. Okay. And what they're doing is they're breaking it into when it's an integer and when it's not an integer to show you that it's being charged for full minutes. So it's 35 cents per minute after 750 minutes, no cards. So that's how that cell phone plan will work. That's pretty accurate to what they used to be. Overage charges were a lot. I don't know that does anybody have a plan that's not unlimited minutes?
Yeah.
You did?
No, I think it's not like unlimited, but we have like so many that.
Yeah, you will never use them all. Yeah. But if you go over, it's really expensive. It's ridiculous. Your normally $60 phone bill could be like $200 or $300 like that.
Yeah.
Because you don't even realize, and it's not like you're talking on your phone and it like beeps at you that you ran out of your minute or you hit your minutes or whatever. Doesn't let you know that. You just keep talking and talking and talking, and it just keeps going ka-ching, 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 ka-ching. Okay, so piecewise functions, you just want to look at this information here. That's going to tell you the zones. And then this tells you the details of the zones. Does that make sense? Alright, so we're going to find the monthly cost for someone who had the plan in example 3. That's the last plan we just did. That's the $40 for 750 minutes. And then 35 cents a minute after that. And they were not paying attention, and they used 1,234 minutes. So they went over by 484 minutes. Okay. And that's going to cost them 35 cents each. That's adding $169.40 to their bill. They have the $40 regular charge plus the $169.40 overage. So their normal bill would have been $40. They're going to get slapped with a bill for $200 this month. Why is this important to know? Well, you made your budget, and you're carefully adhering to your budget, and your budget for your cell phone bill is $40. And then you get a bill in the mail for $200. And that throws your whole budget out of whack, and you might not even be able to accommodate it. Like, that's $170 difference. That's a lot of money to come up with.
Does anyone regulate what they charge for overages and stuff?
The FCC. But, okay, so this doesn't really happen too much anymore. Pretty much it's unlimited text, right? Because I don't think I've seen you have this many texts per month plan in a long time. But you can kind of translate this to other things, the same idea. She has a plan, and she can add on to it and pay $40 for unlimited text messages. She's currently paying 15 cents per text message. Okay, and she wants to know if she sends about 800 messages a month, like how does that compare, right? So you take that 800 messages per month and you multiply it by 15 cents. Right now she's spending $120 on text messages. See, when I said like the 10 cents, that adds up really fast when you get charged per. Okay, or $40 for unlimited. That is a savings of $80. Now, sometimes when you're doing the analysis, you want to do like a break even. So you want to know how many text messages would equal $40. So you can see like where's the cutoff line, like when this is cheaper if it's less than this many, and this is cheaper if it's more than that many, kind of thing. So you'll do the 15 cents times the number of messages. And you want that to equal 40. So you'd have 266 messages per month for $40. If you send way less than 266 messages, then it's cheaper to go with the per message plan. If you send more than 266 messages, then it's cheaper to go with the unlimited plan. And that's how you do those comparisons. You find out where that line is. Like how much do you actually use, and where is that line where you can decide or use less or more than this, and you'll know which side is cheaper. Does that make sense? Any questions on any of this so far? Cable TV internet phone provider offers a flat $95 per month for TV, internet, and phone for a new customer for the first year, and it'll go up about 10% for the second year. Okay, so year one, $95, year two, $95 plus 10%. Okay. She currently spends $49 for phone, $35 for internet, and $50 for cable. She obviously has basic. So 35, 49, and 50. Okay. If her usage remains the same, we want to know how much will she save per month in the second year. Okay, well the first year she would save $39 a month. So we want to find out how much she's going to save in the second year. We want to find out what 95 plus 10% is. So first we're going to take 95 and multiply it by 10% and get 950. So it's going to go up by 950. So it'll go up to $104.50 per month. So she's still gonna save money. So that first month, she's gonna save about $39, or sorry, the first year she's gonna save $39. The second year she's gonna save $29.50. Bundles actually, when you look at those kind of deals, you'll see like they'll advertise like only $29.99 a month for the first 12 months. Make sure you read that fine print that says for the first 12 months, and then find out what the rate is after those 12 months are initially over. Because sometimes it's not always the best deal, because then they'll jack it way high after that. And then look at the bundle. You know, the bundle might include internet, television, and a home phone, but if you don't normally have a home phone, it might actually increase your monthly bills rather than decreasing them in the long run. Because you'll be paying for a service that you don't use or need. After that initial honeymoon period of the cheaper rate goes away, you know what I mean? And usually when they say that you get that low rate for the first 12 months, they're locking you into at least a 2-year contract.
Yeah, so you have to pay for the full price
For at
for a
least a
year.
year. Yeah, so you wanna know that too. Are you getting locked into a contract? Because that's very important to know as well, because if you cancel the contract, I know with some cell phone, well, my cell phone company, if you break your contract, it's like a $350 charge.
Early termination.
Yeah, early termination fee. Exactly. So all that small print you want to look at, and you want to make those comparisons really carefully.